Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Poor Decisions, the True Crime and Wine podcast where we sip, spill, and solve some seriously twisted stories. I'm your host, Bren, and tonight we're diving into one of the most infamous cases of obsession, lies, and betrayal that rocked the nation. And this is going to be the brutal murder of Travis Alexander at the hands of the infamous Jodi Arias. So grab your glass, get comfy, and get ready for a wild ride. Okay, so first it's wine time. Tonight we are sipping on a local wine from right here in Maryland. This brand is called Ep5, and this particular wine is called Annapolis Sunset, and it's in the Rosé family. And they say that this wine particularly is great for brunches and picnics, and they do say that it is in the sweet family. So I'm excited. This was a recommendation. So if it's still sweet, I already know I'm gonna like it. So let's test it on out. And of course, I'm serving it up in what? My Poor Decisions official glass. I also love the sound of pouring wine out. Alright. So it's a crazy case. I don't think I got too much. I also love the color of it. And I'm gonna hold it from down below, because if y'all are following us on Instagram at It's Poor Decisions, this week I did repost, shout out to the page, Wine Enthusiasts. They showed you good ways to hold your wine glass, and apparently they say holding it at the bowl is not good because the heat from your hands will kind of warm up the temperature, which can sometimes alter the flavor of it. So I'm gonna try to be classy and hold it from down below. So let's try it. It don't really taste like anything. Yeah, as of right now, not a big fan, but let's dive in. Travis Victor Alexander was born on July 28, 1977 in Riverside, California. He was a charismatic, ambitious, and deeply religious man who had overcome a very difficult childhood. Travis was taken in and raised by his grandparents because both of his parents were severe drug addicts. Now, despite a troubled childhood, Travis grew up and turned it completely around, and then he later became a motivational speaker and a successful salesman for prepaid legal services. He was active in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, aka the Mormon Church, we discussed in a previous episode, and he had dreams of family, marriage, and success. He lived in Mesa, Arizona, and was described as being kind, driven, and generous. But in 2006, everything changed at a work convention when he met a woman named Jodi Arias. Now let's talk a little bit about our other key player in this case, which is Miss Jodi. So Jodi Ann Arias was born on July 9th, 1980 in Salinas, California. By most accounts, Jodi was attractive, intelligent, and artistic, but also deeply insecure and obsessive. Jodi grew distant from her parents during her adolescence as she became to be a bit of a rebellion. In middle school, she was actually caught growing weed in her parents' home, and that's when their dynamic changed because to her, she felt that they were invading her privacy, even though she's in middle school. But anyway, she then went to stay for a small period of time with her grandparents, something that both Jodi and Travis had in common. Now let's fast forward back into present day of the case. Jodi was also employed by prepaid legal services, And in September 2006, the company paid for majority of their employees to attend a convention in Las Vegas. And this is the place that Jodi and Travis Alexander met. And from those who were around, the attraction between the two was immediate. Friends say that when Travis came back from the convention, all he talked about was the amazing woman that he met at the convention, which was Jodi, and how he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. Now, despite their long distance, because again, she was in California and he was in Arizona, and they have completely different religious beliefs because he is a devout Mormon and she was not, they began a whirlwind of a relationship. Now we're going to take a quick little wine break because this kind of sets the tone, and then we're going to dive into the heat of their romance. Okay, I tasted a little teeny bit more. I wouldn't just like buy it on my own, I don't think. I don't know about picnic or brunch. I don't know. Let's keep going. Now, Travis did introduce the Book of Mormon to Jodi and will often bring her to church and constantly speak about his religious beliefs with her. I do believe he was trying to set the tone because him being Mormon, their beliefs, he has to, marry and be with a woman who is also of the same shared religion, and she was not. And from what his friend said, he really liked Jodi. He kept trying to drop that religion bomb to kind of persuade her to come on over to the other side. And his persuasion kind of worked. Within a few months, Jodi converted to Mormonism, and on November 26th of 2006, she was even baptized in the church by Travis. But their relationship was rocky from the start. It was full of passion, breakups, jealousy, and manipulation. Travis's friends also did not like Jodi at all. They found her possessive, emotionally unstable, and invasive. His friends said that she was so obsessive that if Travis would get up and leave the room to say, let's go to the bathroom, Jodi would then get up and she would go too. There was even a time where the friends were in Travis's room and a friend was saying, I bet she's right outside the door listening right now. And sure enough, when they got up to open the door, who was on the other side of the door listening? It was Jodi. She did not miss a beat when it came to Travis. And one friend later said that she gave off fatal attraction vibes. And she would continuously pop up at Travis's house uninvited and let herself in via the garage because he had a garage code that he had given to her. Now, Travis and Jodi would break up just to make up multiple times. And although against their now shared religion, they still maintained a steamy sexual relationship, which again is against the rules of their religion, but it would also complicate things during their breakups. Travis would tell Jodi that they were done, but whenever she popped up unannounced, he would continue to still have sex with her. Kind of like leading her on, really. But by 2008, Travis had ended things for good. But Jodi was not ready to let go. She then moved from California to Mesa, Arizona, right down the street from Travis, and didn't even tell him. But what she told to other people about her move was that Travis wanted her to be closer to him because they were going to get married. Okay, delusional. Anyway. And even during this breakup, she would continue to pop up at Travis's house and let herself in. Sometimes Travis would express his anger towards her, refusing to leave him alone, but most times he still would just join her in the bed and continue again to have sex with her. But Travis was moving on and dating someone new. Jodi claimed at this point that they were just friends and that she was happy that Travis was seeing someone else because she too had moved on. But that wasn't really so true. According to Travis's friends, at this point, Jodi was pretty much becoming a stalker. Travis met a woman from church named Lisa that he had started dating. And there was a time they were hanging out at his home and Jodi was seen outside, lurking in the bushes, peeping through his windows. And later on, when they came outside, all four tires on both Travis's and Lisa's cars were slashed. And then, ironically, Lisa began to receive anonymous emails that were calling her names like sluts and whores, and then pretty much kind of threatening her to leave Travis alone. And of course, we all know these emails were coming from nobody else but Jodi. There was even another occasion that Travis and Lisa were hanging out at Travis's house again when Jodi popped up, and I guess maybe this time Travis had changed the code to the garage, because instead of letting herself in her normal way through the garage, she decided to enter in through the doggy door. Yes, y'all, she climbed through the freaking doggy door. And this was just all too much drama for Lisa, so she gracefully bowed out and she broke things off with Travis. She said, "This girl is crazy. I don't want nothing to do with this, so I'm out." And at this point, Travis had had enough, and he somehow convinced Jodi to move back to California, hoping that a little bit of distance between them would kind of help keep them apart. Now, Jodi did move back to California, and she moved in with her grandparents, but the distance didn't really matter to her. She would still just take that 3-hour ride to try to get close to Travis. Travis then met another woman by the name of Mimi at an LDS church singles night. To Travis, Mimi was perfect and everything he was looking for in a future wife. But Mimi, she only saw Travis as a friend, and she wasn't really interested in dating him. Travis was planning a trip to Cancun, Mexico for work, and he could bring a guest along. And it wasn't Jodi who he selected to accompany him. Instead, it was his new friend Mimi. Travis had seemingly moved on and was ready to leave Jodi in the past. But Jodi wasn't ready to let go. Now, during this time back in California at Jodi's grandparents' house, there was a break-in, and the only item that was stolen was a gun. And I think that we can kind of see where this is going. So let's pause for a wine break because everything is about to go south. Now, on June 4th, 2008, Travis Alexander missed an important conference call, and then he missed more, and that was completely out of character for him. Concerned, his friends went to his house on June the 9th and asked Travis's roommate if he had seen Travis. His roommate had just assumed that he had left already for the trip to Cancun, but the friends told him they weren't supposed to be leaving until the next day. So he went and knocked on Travis's room door, but after getting no answer, he then retrieved the spare key that he had to Travis's room, and when they opened the bedroom door, they saw and smelled evidence of a fatal struggle. Travis's lifeless body was found naked in the shower, lying in the fetal position.
A friend of ours is dead in his bedroom. We hadn't heard from him for a while. We think he's dead.
Has he been threatened by anyone recently?
Yes, he has.
Okay.
He has an ex-girlfriend that's been bothering him and following him and slashing tires and things like that.
And do you know the ex-girlfriend's name?
Her name is Jodi.
The scene was horrifying. Travis had been brutally attacked. 27 stab wounds, a slit throat, and a gunshot wound to the head. Detectives quickly discovered a trail of evidence, a bloody handprint with DNA belonging to both Travis and Jodi. A camera was found in the washing machine along with bloody sheets. And after close examination of the SD card that was inside the camera, it contained photos from the day of the murder, including time-stamped images of Travis in the shower, and then later there were blurry photos, clearly taken accidentally, of his attack. The final photo showed Travis alive at 5:29 p.m. Just minutes later, he would be dead. Taking another sip. That was a baby sip because if you can tell, I'm not really a fan of this. It's not even, it's a little bit drier than the sweets I'm used to drinking, but the last couple weeks we've been doing a little bit dry, and I like those better than this one, but it's not time for the wine review. So it still got some more time to get some chances in. Now, when police questioned Jodi, she initially claimed she hadn't seen Travis in months, and that the day of Travis's murder, she was on a road trip to Utah to visit a guy that she had recently started dating named Ryan. Investigators began poking holes in her alibi, but Jodi held onto her innocence and continued her claim of not seeing Travis.
I've gone over this trip over and over in my mind and on paper. And even if there's still 20 some odd hours, even if you pulled over to sleep a couple of times.
Oh, did I tell you that I got stranded?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned that. If you slept for 10 hours,
I only slept for
here and here, it would still leave 18 some odd hours for something else. Okay. This is what people are focusing on, is this trip that you took. Because they're saying she left, she didn't get to till Thursday. Wednesday? That's when Travis was killed.
I did not go near his house. Aren't there?
I pulled your cell records. Your cell phone was turned off between here and here.
Well, I didn't turn it off physically, but it died.
And then magically you found your charger here?
It was packed under the seat of the passenger side, and it was when I was.
When you were lost, you couldn't have maybe pulled over and found it, or?
Well, I did finally start looking when I was stranded. I wouldn't have pulled over when I was lost.
Detective Flores explains to Jodi multiple times over how the trip doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and whether it's feigned naivety or that she literally doesn't understand the concept of time and distance, she pretends to be confused by the allegation rather than actually confront it. This goes on for 3 minutes before the detective confronts Jodi with the evidence of the photographs on Travis's camera.
But I don't think you're being completely honest with me about that trip.
I honestly got lost. It's bad timing.
Were you at Travis's house on Wednesday?
Absolutely not. I was nowhere near Mesa. I was nowhere near Phoenix. I wasn't even close to him.
What if I could show you proof you were there? Will that change your mind?
I wasn't there.
You can be honest with me, Jodi.
I was not at Travis's house. Was not.
You were at Travis's house. You guys had a sexual encounter, which there's pictures. And I know you know there's pictures because I have them. I will show them to you. Okay? So, what I'm asking you is for you to be honest with me. I know you were there.
Are you sure those pictures aren't from another time?
Positive. Remember I told you about the camera?
Mm-hmm.
The card's intact. Remember I told you that card was destroyed?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to tell you the truth. And I have pictures of you in Travis's bedroom with Travis, pictures of him, and it's obvious you guys are having sex, taking photos of each other, and they're dated and time-stamped on the day he died.
Are you sure it's me? I mean, that because I was
Jodi,
not there.
It's you. And you know it's you. I know all the details of this case. The only thing I don't know is why. Why did you choose to go visit Travis that day? And why did you do what you did?
I would never
Why,
hurt
Jodi?
Travis.
You did. You hurt him. That's why we're here. That's why I flew up here. Because I needed to talk to you about this. I can just arrest you and throw you in jail, but I want to know why. Why did you do this to him?
I wouldn't hurt Travis. He's done so much for me.
I know you took pictures of him in the shower just before he died.
I don't think he would allow that.
Mm-hmm. And the camera actually took a couple of photos by accident during the time that he was being killed.
Really?
Yeah, Jodi, really. You were there. Quit playing this game. It's time for you to just come out and
I didn't
tell
know.
me.
I did not hurt Travis. I did not hurt Travis. I wouldn't do that to him.
The detective then goes on to explain the DNA evidence collected at the crime scene, which includes Jodi's blood mixed with Travis's blood, Jodi's hair, and Jodi's bloody palm print.
You either had blood on your hand and you touched the wall, or there was blood on the wall and you touched the blood.
Could my palm print have already been there and then blood touched it?
Jodi, this is over. This is absolutely over. You need to tell me the truth.
Listen, the truth is I did not hurt Travis.
If you want, I can show you some pictures of him. Do you want to see pictures of him?
Part of me does and part of me doesn't.
Why? Because you don't want to remember?
No, I just,
Jodi.
there's a morbid curiosity.
Jodi,
I wanted to know how he died.
we can keep playing these games over and over again. I'm not going to believe you.
Was it?
It's over.
Could it have been my blood from
Your
before?
image is not important right now. Saving the rest of your life is.
Listen, if I'm found guilty, I don't have a life. I'm not guilty. I didn't hurt Travis. If I hurt Travis, if I killed Travis, I would beg for the death penalty. It just seems so impossible. I'd want to see it. I'd want to know. I mean, I'm not a murderer, but I guess if I were to do that, I would wear gloves or, something. Okay, let's say for a second that I did. And I say, I did it.
Mhm.
I mean,
The motive is there. The jealousy issue.
but I wouldn't even say it was jealous. I mean, there may have been some jealousy there, but
Then what is
I think
it?
if
What
anyone-
caused this?
I think if anyone, maybe Travis was jealous, but
That's not what everybody else says. I can prove you were there. I can prove it. But what I don't have is I don't have answers on why it happened. Or, maybe something just got out of hand. Maybe things got out of hand.
did you
and-
find the gun? Maybe that would.
Jodi, we're just playing games here. I'm gonna take a little break, but I need you to think about what you're doing here. Because the best thing for you to do is to tell me the truth. It's so important that you tell me.
Now, Jodi's entire interrogation is a bit cringy. I don't know if it was just like the nerves or maybe boredom from being there for so long, but let's take a look at some weird moments she had while being interrogated.
I didn't hear you breathe. I wonder how am I still here? The stars are brightly shining. This is the day of our dear Savior's birth.
During Jodi's next interrogation, after being confronted with evidence that placed her at the scene, she then changed her story.
I was screaming, and I was by the bathtub. I remember putting my hand on his back because he was on all four of his knees. He was like on his knees like this, doing something like this or something like, I don't know. And I I was like, are you okay? What's going on? What's going on? He's like, go get help, go get help. And I said, okay. And I turned around, there were two people there. One was a guy and one was a girl.
She claimed that two masked intruders, one male and one female, had broken into Travis's home and killed him. And she said that they took her ID and made note of her address, threatening to do the same to her if she had said anything. And then she was just allowed to escape. But she didn't call 911 to try to help Travis or to report it. Instead, she made multiple calls to Travis's phone, and left voicemails to further paint a picture that she hadn't been there. But the evidence still pointed at Jodi. And eventually in 2010, 2 years after the murder, Jodi admitted she had killed Travis, but claimed it was in self-defense. She said they were taking pictures of each other on Travis's new camera when she accidentally dropped it, which angered him so much that he had attacked her and she had to fight back. She then told a story of a battle between the two. She said that she was in fear for her life. She said she ran to the closet to kind of create some space between the two of them, but that didn't stop Travis. So then she retrieved his gun that was stored in the top of the closet. She then claimed that she pointed the gun at him in an attempt just to like make him stop coming at her, but it didn't work. Instead, he charged at her in like a linebacker position, and then the gun accidentally went off. But the evidence didn't support her story. There was no sign of a struggle in the house consistent with her account. The overkill nature of the wounds pointed to rage, not fear. And prosecutors believed the murder was premeditated, that Jodi had driven over 1,000 miles from California to Arizona with a stolen gun. She had dyed her hair brown, remember before she was blonde, and turned her phone off to avoid being tracked. They claimed she murdered Travis in a jealous rage, furious that he had rejected her and that he was seeing someone new and that he planned to take another woman to Cancun. Wine break, y'all. I'm giving this so many wine breaks. I'm giving this a try. I'm giving it a chance after chance. Now, Jodi Arias was arrested and on July 15, 2008, charged with first-degree murder. Her trial began on January 2013 and lasted over 4 months. It became a media circus, televised live, picked apart on social media, and followed obsessively by the public. I know majority of you guys watching this have already heard about this case, and I've actually had a couple people tell me, like, you should cover this, or ask, when are you covering it? 'Cause we know you are. Y'all know I was going to get into this. Like, Jodi Arias is just... Y'all just knew I was going to cover this. I had to. But anyway, during the trial, Jodi took the stand in her own defense for a jaw-dropping 18 days, describing the relationship that she had with Travis as abusive. She even went as low to paint Travis as a pedo and make claims that he was into young boys and that she had like caught him watching like kitty porn on like his computer and stuff like that with little boys. She had even secretly recorded their phone sex sessions and convos, and they played them back in court. She even presented a t-shirt that she had designed that said Survivor on it to claim her supports of being a victim of domestic violence. But her stories changed, her demeanor was cold, and the jury did not buy it. The prosecution portrayed her as calculating, manipulative, and obsessed. A woman who had refused to accept the rejection and murdered Travis in cold blood. On May 8th, 2013, the jury found Jodi Arias guilty of first-degree murder. Now, the sentencing phase dragged on for years due to delays in a hung jury. Not once, but twice. Both times, jurors were unable to reach a unanimous decision on whether Jodi should be sentenced to death or life in prison, which as a result of 2 hung juries in the state of Arizona, it takes the death penalty off the table. So in 2015, The judge gave the max sentence possible of life in prison without the possibility of parole to Jodi. And today, Jodi Arias is incarcerated at the Arizona Department of Corrections. She continues to maintain her version of the story, but most of the public and the jury saw it for what it was. We do too. A senseless, jealous killing of a man trying to move on. And that wraps up the facts behind the Travis, Alexander, and Jodi Arias case. Okay? Now, before we jump into this case discussion, I'm going to try it again, y'all. Like, I'm trying. I don't know. I think I can taste like a slight undertone of like a peachy, but yeah. Let's just get into the case discussion. Okay, so I definitely want to highlight again that for the case discussion, this is completely all my opinion, okay? Everything I'm going to say is how I feel. It's not increased or sponsored or influenced by anybody else, just myself, okay? So for the case discussion, I do have two questions. The first one is, do you believe that Jodi was a victim of domestic violence? And that one is a tough one, because I do not want to victim shame in no type of way. I mean, no offense. I feel like based upon the way that the case unfolded and the way the evidence was produced in the timeline, I don't think so. I do not think so. I don't think that prior to this case coming about and then her being, charged or looked at in this way, she never presented to anyone that, she had been attacked by him or felt threatened or feared him at all. Now, I do know, granted, in a lot of DV cases, victims do not always speak up and come forward. They kind of hold things in and endure them in private. So I do want to be careful about the things that I say in reference to that. Because, again, I mean, no offense. I do not want to victim shame anyone. I know that DV is a very serious topic and is a very sensitive one. However, in this case of Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander, unfortunately on her behalf, I do not agree with the narrative that she was a DV victim. I unfortunately do not. I believe that her stating that was just kind of a way, an excuse to kind of give her a reason or kind of explain why she did what she did. And then her coming to court with the t-shirt that says Survivor on it was to kind of double down and make you really believe that she was a victim of that. And, oh, now I have these shirts and all the proceeds go towards organizations that protect women of DV, cases. And I feel like that is extremely fucked up. For you to use something as sensitive as that just to kind of like gear people and to pull on heartstrings and gear them to your way, even though it didn't work, because all the jurors found her guilty. They just were split on whether or not she should get the death penalty or life in prison. So I don't think in that aspect she really had anyone fooled, to be honest with you. But when it comes to her, I do not believe that she was a victim of domestic violence. But let me know what you guys think down below in the chat. Now, for the second question of our case discussion, I want to know for you guys, okay? If you were one of the jury panelists, do we consider them to be panelists, or they're just jury? If you were a member of the jury, would you have voted for the death penalty or life in prison when it came to Jodi? Now, I will remind you of his injuries. He had 27 stab wounds. His throat was slit from ear to ear, like you were almost decapitating this man, and he was shot in the head. So, for you guys, would you have voted for death penalty or life in prison? I know in one of the scenes she said that, if you guys pay attention, she did say if I really was, when she was still trying to say that she was innocent, that she didn't do this, if I was guilty of this, I would ask for the death penalty. So clearly that means I'm not guilty, so I'm not asking for it. Based upon other cases and the severity of it, I don't feel like this was warranted a death penalty. I feel like she should have to, as she is, do the rest of her life, sit in jail, sit in prison, no opportunity or potential for parole, and just think about what you've done every day. Now the downside to that, to this day, she still receives a lot of media attention, like interviews and stuff like that, and she eats it up every chance she gets. Like, she's in love with the camera, being interviewed, like, it's like glorified for her. And even in jail, like you guys, like I said before, she was known to be very artistic. In jail, she's making art and selling it, and people are paying like thousands of dollars for like a piece of artwork that Jodi Arias did. Like, it's a Jodi Arias original. I'm paying thousands of dollars. So even in jail, she's kind of like making out. So I hate that for her, because I don't think that she should have that opportunity. Yes, there are plenty of people who go to jail. They learn from what they've done, and they find ways to, be productive citizens out here of society, or even from jail do something good to help people on the outside. So I definitely don't want to take away from that, but I'm like, while she's making all this money from artwork, what is she doing with the money? How is she helping other people? If she claims she was a domestic violence survivor, is she giving any of the money that she's making off these paintings and art to these organizations? That part I do not know. I actually only thought about this now while giving you my answer. So I will go ahead and do some more research into that. Like, what has she been doing, like, recently to kind of help? Is she still claiming domestic violence? So I looked that up, but I feel like, yeah, death penalty, like, no, you should have to suffer. Now, other times when it's things involving like children and stuff like that, or like heinous and brutal. Now, not to say that this was not heinous or brutal, but this was definitely a brutal crime. Like, this was complete overkill. But something like this, I definitely think that she should have life in prison. But I think that maybe she should be separated. Like, she doesn't get to be in Gen Pop with other people, making friends, living her life. Maybe she should just be in like the solitary the whole time, and like you just have to sit there with your four walls and literally think about what you've done. Now, I know they do say stuff like that can kind of drive people insane, but so be it. Like, you took someone from this earth, someone who will never have the opportunity to come back. His family will never be able to see him again. And just because he was rejecting you, like, the day that this happened, you unalived him, and then you proceeded to get on the road and actually go see someone new to paint the picture that you weren't around. But like, if you guys see Jodi, like, she's a very pretty girl. You definitely had plenty of opportunity to meet someone new who aligned with you, fall in love, and have your own life. You did not have to have him. Like, she obsessed over him to where it was literally, if I can't have you, no one will. And that just sucks, but I think she got what she should have got. If I was on a jury, I think that I would have voted for her life in prison to kind of sit there. But if I worked for the jail, if I was like a warden or anything like that, I would definitely keep her in isolation. Like, you don't get to just come out and, no. Like, you're making friends, you got like roommates, and that you guys together are like, no. I watched, it's so many specials on TV about Jodi Arias. Look them up. Just type in Jodi Arias if you have a smart TV, and so many different series and movies and documentaries will come out. They even have stuff where like her previous cellmates are coming out, addressing stuff. And then one of them, like, they got so close in jail that when the cellmate got out, they were like running her social media for her. Like, anybody who wrote to me, I'm making sure that I keep my fans, that's what she looked at them as fans, updated. Because even still to this day, there are people who will literally argue you down that Jodi Arias is innocent. To me, to feel like she didn't get a fair trial. I feel like she did get a fair trial. I feel like she definitely was not innocent. I feel like she did that. she could not handle that he didn't want to be with her. I think she saw sex in the beginning as a way to kind of win him over. Maybe because for his religion, he's not supposed to have sex. So, he's not really having a lot of it if he is having it at all. So that was a way to kind of guide him to you. But then it was when you started realizing that, this is really against his beliefs and his religion. So she converted. But really, honestly, once she started, based upon the religious beliefs and what the friends say, once she first opened the door to having sex with him, she kind of took herself off the table of ever being able to be, like, wifed up by him. Because you had sex with him outside of marriage. And when you first started, you weren't even under the same religion. So without you being the same, he couldn't be with you anyway. But when he came back from the convention, not having sex with you at the convention, he was telling his friends, like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with her. Like, I love this girl. So maybe she should have kept it sealed, wrapped up tight. Saw what he was about. Like he said, he kept dropping those religion bombs on her, trying to convert her. Convert her, you become Mormon. He initially wanted to spend his life with her. I don't know. But then they did say her coming over all the time because she spent a lot of time up there. Because again, at first she was in California, he was in Arizona. So she was driving hours to come out and be with him to hang out. And his friends, and they all noticed, like, oh, this girl is crazy. She's obsessed. So it's a tough one. But honestly, like, she had plenty opportunity in life. She was so young where she could have just let him move on the way he wanted to. And she could have just met someone else. Again, she was a beautiful girl, talented. She would have been okay. She did not have to have Travis. So unfortunately, she didn't see it like that. She had to have him. Or she got him out of there so nobody else could. I definitely believe she did it. Again, I don't believe that she was a victim of domestic violence. Completely my opinion. And I do believe that she did get the sentence that she should have life in prison and not the death penalty. But again, let me know what you guys think. You guys can leave your comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like, and make sure you guys leave all of your thoughts and comments, not only here, also over on our Instagram at It's Poor Decisions, and make sure you follow over there as well, so you guys do not miss the Wine of the Week promotion. That way, if you guys want to sip on the wine with me, you guys will have a heads up in knowing what I'm drinking, so you can get it too and try it with me. So for this week's wine rating, the Elk Run Annapolis Sunset, on a scale of 3 cheers, I'm going to give it a 1 cheer. I don't really like it. I'm definitely going to finish this bottle because I love wine. But, like, I don't think that, like, I would ever go to the store and just buy this. Let me again, I'm still getting that, like, delayed peachy taste, but other than that, it's not really, like, doing anything for me. Like, the other ones I could taste, like, the flavor burst. I don't get that with this. It's like I'm tasting something that's, like, alcoholic. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to get a 1 out of 3 cheers for me. It's not my favorite one. I think of all the wines I've tried so far here on Poor Decisions, this one is going to be my least favorite. I hate to say it. But if you guys did try this wine with me, let me know your thoughts and your rating in the comments below. Again, subscribe, like, share this video with one of your friends, and tell them to watch it too. And until next time, you guys already know, make good choices and not poor decisions.